Hello, thank you so much for listening to my little podcast series. This is my fourth video. If you haven't listened to the part one, part two, part three, I'm sharing my story of me being now realizing that I am a typical autistic, neurodivergent, ADHD, and also anxiety at age 42, and I am enlightened and I am happy that I am now understanding who I am, but at the same time sad because it was so many years. So I'm sharing my story on YouTube, not to diagnose anyone, nor to tell you, oh, yes, you're neurodivergent or atypical, but because it was so like, I don't know, it was so much closure for me understanding thanks to AI and a quiz that I took and just studying about atypical autism. And now that AI is starting to educate me on the subject, and I have done a lot of research and I've gone down the rabbit hole, everything from A to Z is like obviously I don't understand how providers missed it, but like I said, I mean, I don't know, I hope that we can tap into a different situation when it comes to our health providers, our mental health in the United States, because it's still lacking, unfortunately. Like I said, I've suffered for so long, and at 42, I'm still kind of like, I'll talk about later on in other videos about imposter syndrome too, because I'm like, I really hope that this is not just another diagnosis. So I'm just sharing my story for other people to be enlightened and also maybe have closure and maybe say, hey, everything that she's talking about, everything that she has said, that's how I feel, and it feels good when you can actually relate, or when you're like, yeah, that is me, other than like just the providers giving you a diagnosis and you're like, nah, that doesn't sound like me, that doesn't feel like me. Only us, like only we can feel what we feel, and it's really hard when it's somebody else trying to tell you what you feel. I don't know, I hope that made sense, but that's the reason why I am sharing my journey, of my findings and what I feel, what I go through, and help someone out. Another topic that is very important to understand when you have atypical autism, neurodivergent, in my case I have ADD also, and anxiety, is that another thing is we get taken advantage of a lot. And I didn't know that that was part of me being atypical autistic. And when I heard other people share about their life journey and their diagnosis and all of that, they also spoke about that. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy, because I feel that I have been taken advantage of by various people and all the time in my journey of life. And a lot of situations are just not fair, and they're sad. And I think today I'll share with you some examples, but some of them are too deep for me to even share, because it's sad, but people do, they take advantage of people that are like, like us or whatever. Well, at least in my case, that was the case. One of the situations that I would like to share is like an instance, right? So I've also dealt with homelessness, because obviously I've shared that I haven't been able to keep a job because of my mental issues in my situation. So I have dealt with homelessness, and I have been in shelters before. One of the stories that I'll share is that was sad, I was going through a really hard time. I was in the shelter, and I didn't know how to use the EBT card, because I had never had public assistance. And so at that moment, I asked one of the girls that was at the shelter, I know, right, to help me use it. I didn't know how to do like a pin or anything like that. This was like a while back. So she's like, gladly, right? And yeah, gladly she took my money, and I just did. That's how it was. So I got hustled, and then just various stuff that I would get hustled a lot. So now it's like that's why it's so hard for us to be social, and it's so hard to us to go out in the world because we're just so vulnerable. And that's how, at least that's how I feel. And also another thing that I've noticed that I didn't know this was we cut people off very easily, and sometimes people could think, oh my god, she's so, like, yeah, we're weird obviously, but they're like, oh, she's just like, oh my god, weird, she doesn't have any friends. Like, I don't have friends, I don't have, I cut people off really fast because I just feel like I've gotten like bullied all my life. I've gotten taken advantage all my life, that I'm just like at the point where I just want to live in the woods with animals, and like, just, I don't trust anyone because, when I was younger, I got taken advantage of so much, and there was just so many things that happened to me that now I'm like, I just want to live in a cave with wolves. So basically, that's another part that's really hard, and it's really sad. And but I didn't know it is part of being atypical, and a lot of people that are autistic and they don't have support systems, or people that are divergent, are taken advantage of. And I do want to say that we're really, really good people, and we're good souls, but sometimes along the way we start to not harden ourselves, like to be mean to other people and be like, okay, well, the world was mean to me, now I'm going to be mean to the world. At least that's not my case. But my case is like, I just have gotten taken advantage of left and right, that I just don't want to go out to the world. And for me to step outside this house is like a big deal, like it takes all my life. And so I get tired when I come back. If I have to go to work or I have to go do something, I have to recharge, like hibernate like a bear, because it's exhausting. It's exhausting for us to do all that. So if you know someone that is like me, that's weird, and that is like sometimes could tap, you're like, whoa, they're really smart, because like I said, we're not dumb, we're really, really smart people. And I think that we're connected to like another, like, I don't know how to explain it, like I feel like our cables are connected in a different way, where there's other areas that normal people can't tap into, that we can only tap into. That's probably going to be my next video. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to my experiences and my journey. And please subscribe to my channel so I could make more videos.